I said, how come they can't get these opportunities? How come they can't get an interview?
Because of the attitudes prescribed to women under patriarchy, that men are inherently superior just by being superior, or that men are dominating the industry, therefore want to hire other men.
And is that
because of sexism.
statistically accurate, or is that an opinion-based thought?
If you'd like me to reference something specifically, we can talk about jobs. We can also talk about when women enter male-dominated industries, the average pay decreases. We can also talk about similar jobs that men and women have, such as nursing, where men are still paid higher than women are.
Patriot, can I just real quick ask you just a quick question that'll go right along with what you're saying, man?
Yeah, go for it.
Comrade, let me ask you this. Is it not a proven fact that men are born with denser bones, bigger lungs, a bigger throat, and bigger muscles? Is that not a proven fact? Because if it's not, then I can see where you're coming from. But if it is, I would rather have somebody with denser bones that can lift more, that can haul more, that can do all these things, rather than having somebody that could haul, move, lift, pull, do whatever less than what a man can do. I mean, that's just me. So you've got to take that aspect into accountability. Who can lift, pull, push, and all that kind of stuff more than the other?
I think only under capitalism, possibly, because then you would have an argument that production is valuable. But no, I would argue that a lot of laborious jobs we're replacing with technology.
Here is the situation that I run into. I hired a woman at $21 an hour, right? And I hired the guy at $21 an hour. I'm equal when I do hire somebody. Well, now here's the thing. That woman worked just as hard as a man did. But the excuse that I heard from the other woman that I was going to hire, after she found out she was going to have to carry 2x4s up a ladder, said, "Oh, I'm not built for that." But this other woman, she worked just like a man could. So there is really no excuse for a woman not to take into a male job. I've seen it myself.
I mean, there's a few excuses, but I get what you're saying as well. Like, skill is a big thing. Work smarter, not harder, right? So, I mean, if like what Comrade is saying is that, technology is taking over a lot of this laborious jobs, then I feel like that's even more reason for, women to get involved in them now during the age of technology, where maybe you don't have to sit there and lift all these heavy objects. You can work these jobs without, putting your body through all these horrible things. So, I do feel like, and again, this is just, I just feel like more women should be given the chance, or more women should be given the opportunity, or, told that they can do these things. And I also feel like, especially in the American school system, it is very much pushed that you should go to college. When going to trade school and working a blue collar job can make you sometimes more money than just getting a college degree.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's saying that these women shouldn't go for those jobs. They just don't want to do it. It's way harder. First of all, most women don't even want to work. Y'all not taken care of.
I mean, I can agree with that. Again, I worked in a lot of male-dominated fields, and I worked with 0 women in any of the companies I worked for. And, when I would tell, my friends would be like, "Oh my gosh, like, how are you able to go on these vacations and able to do all these things?" I'm like, because I'm working a really great job where I'm getting paid really well. This is what my job is. And as soon as I explain it to them, they're like, "Oh, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be dirty. We don't want to be sweaty." And I'm like, yes, but if you put that stuff aside, like, oh my goodness, the reward is so great.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue that I have with this take is that I feel it's very white liberal feminism, because we're not recognizing the exploitations of capitalism. I don't.
Then you don't need to expect the higher pay either.
Well, again, you can't have capitalism without domestic labor, which is typically that is done unpaid, as well as women make up a majority of the care industry, which I would argue the care industry is just as much of a backbone, and they are paid less.
But the labor is way less also.
I've got a.
I mean, nurses get paid pretty decent. I'm not going to sit here and say teachers don't get paid enough because they obviously don't. Well, college professors get decent amounts of money. But high school, elementary, things like that. There's no incentive to work those jobs anymore because A, kids
Would not
are
be a better
kids,
teacher.
and B, you're definitely just not
professor.
getting paid enough. So, I mean, I will agree with that, but nurses do get paid a decent amount of money.
Right. Nurses, I would say, would be the only argument in terms of like actually being on par with blue collar jobs. But you have so many other industries that provide care, like within assisted living, within in-house living, within teachers. And Red, to say that like just become a professor is completely ridiculous because you acknowledge that like kids in elementary and high school still need teachers.
Yeah, they need teachers, but I'm saying that they're not going to get paid as much as a professor or anybody
Oh, and
like
they
that
absolutely shouldn't.
because
And
the
I
money
agree
comes
with
from
that.
the school.
A college professor should
should.
never get paid as much as a high school teacher.
So
I
y'all keep saying
absolutely agree with
they
that.
don't
But
get paid
I do
enough.
think teachers
That's
should
not
be
the
paid more.
argumentation.
I know. That's why, that's why I said that though. Just be a professor. If you complain about teachers getting paid, I don't seeing that getting fixed no time soon. So just be a better
That's not
teacher.
an argument. We're making normative statements.
Can I just bring something in just real quick?
No, I won't.
Comrade, and trust
Sure.
me, we're not all trying to jump on you. We're just asking genuine questions here. We're not trying to attack you. I don't want you to feel like you're being attacked at all.
Damn, I'm attacking you.
The
Oh yeah,
thing,
he is. That's fine.
the thing is, I just want to ask you this question. In the industry, let's say like, okay, me and you have the same job. Like let's say we both work at the steel mill where I work, right? And we have the exact same job, right? Would you not admit that it's been proven, there's been a study done, that women work less hours, they take more vacation, they get paternity leave, and it's kind of like, okay, so you work less hours, you take more vacation, and you get your paternity leave, and then you want to complain about not getting paid the same as a man that works more hours than you, takes less vacation, doesn't get that paternity leave. It's kind of like, if you don't work the same amount of hours as a man, why do you expect the same pay? It's like, wait a minute.
Okay, so first off, it's maternity leave, not
Well,
paternity leave. That's for fathers.
Maternity,
Second of
I'm
all,
sorry.
if we're talking about actual labor, there are two different types of labor. There is paid labor and there is unpaid labor. The Labor Bureau and Statistics essentially did a survey of people who are married and employed. When it came to paid labor, men clocked in about 80 hours more. But when it came to unpaid labor, women clocked in 240 hours more. And that's because women are performing the domestic labor within the house, whether that is childcare or grocery shopping or cooking or cleaning. So it's not that women aren't working. It's that they have been assigned additional duties to prevent them from getting more paid hours.
Then let me ask you one question on this. If a woman at home works, takes care of the kids, which is a maternal instinct, and the fatherly instinct is to provide and work and a job. Well, technically that is equal because taking care of children is just as hard as working a job.
Okay, I'm going to interject here. I'm just going to say that, like, I take issue with the concept of maternal versus, motherly versus fatherly instincts because, like, I believe that almost entirely those are based off of social construction and our concept of masculinity versus femininity. I think that we as a society have ingrained these archetypes of men being the ones who work and women being the one who like stay home and take care of the children, and that breeds more women who stay home and take care of the children, and more men who want to go to work, and more husbands who want their wife to want to marry women who are willing to stay home and engage in more domestic labor. So, like, I feel as though it's kind of a bad faith argument to dismiss that as just
Yes.
instincts.
I don't know. I enjoy domestic labor. I had a woman come in my life yesterday saying that women would be more likely to be stay-at-home moms and stuff if they were being paid for it. And I was like, I actually quite enjoy what I do. Like, I don't need to get paid for it. But I mean, I guess I get it. Like, if that's not your natural instinct or it's not what you enjoy doing, I guess I could understand you not wanting to stay home and do these things. But me personally, I do quite enjoy that stuff, so I don't mind that I'm not getting paid for it. But I guess I can also get if a woman's like, oh, I wish I was getting paid for all the housework and stuff. Me personally, I just do it out of joy. But
I want to ask this
Number
though.
one, that is not it's not an instinct. And number two, do you have children?
I do, yes.
So you must recognize that children do create additional barriers to where you can participate in paid labor.
I don't work, ma'am. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, there's no evidence to say. And again, this is all a social creation that came into effect during the industrial age, when essentially there was the adaptation of the private market. Because if we look at it prior to that, men and women, like working on farms, both were outside during the day and both were inside at night.
Comrade, if I can ask this though, if let's say taking care of the home, all that kind of stuff, and even taking care of the family if you choose to have one, correct? Isn't that just called being an adult?
So if you want to actually talk about like what value labor has, I want you to imagine that you have 2 children and a stay-at-home wife, and then she passes away. Who would you have to hire in order to really now complete the labor that she was? You would have to hire a nanny, a chef, a chauffeur, a house organizer, a maid. If people actually had one second, I'm almost done, I swear. If people
Aren't you proving the point,
hire
though?
outside, if people had to hire other people to do this labor, most men would not be able to afford it.
That's false. We can do that shit 10 times better than women can.
Hold on. Comrade, aren't you kind of proving the point, though? Like, men and women, they get into a relationship and they have a partnership, right?
That is not a
So everybody has a role and everybody takes care of their role.
That is
The
not a
men-
partnership. That creates a
That is a
dependency.
partnership.
It
I
is
mean,
not-
if you're going to sit there and tell me that it's not a
Sure.
partnership
I mean,
between
yes,
me
and
and my
again, as a
wife,
traditional
like,
woman,
yes,
sure,
it
I
is.
have this sort of dependency on my significant other. As long as he has a job, I am happy and healthy. But again, I feel like that is a part of a partnership. Like, especially if you go in and you have kids, like you understand that, okay, there are going to be days when you're going to take up the gauntlet. There are going to be days I'm going to take up the gauntlet. There's a certain dependency in a partnership. And sure, there are ones where the dependency is a little bit, bigger, like, in the case of a stay-at-home mother or whatever, where obviously she has a larger financial dependency upon her partner. But again, he also has a dependency on her because while he is gone and at work, he knows his home and his children are being taken care of. He depends on her to know that when he comes home, his house is going to be clean, his food is going to be cooked, and his children are going to be happy, safe, and healthy. So I do think there's a level of dependency in partnerships, and I don't think that's necessarily a negative thing, because I get told a lot of the time, like, being a traditional stay-at-home, that, oh, it's financial abuse or whatever because, I don't have my own, source of income or whatever. But it's like, I do have a college degree, and if I did have to go back out into the workforce, I could. I'm not just this, poor little lamb who is completely vulnerable and has no idea what she's doing. I did go into this with my eyes wide open, and I do know what I'm doing. And I feel like some stay-at-home moms do that. And sure, there are some women who maybe got caught into this role or brought into this role in a way that was negative, and now they're stuck. And I do absolutely sympathize with them and empathize with them. But that is certainly not the situation I have found myself in. So it's just, but there is a certain amount of dependency when you're in a partnership.
So then,
what
did
I'm
you
hearing
say
from women-
financial
what I'm hearing
abuse?
from women like you're saying, not you, but what's your name, comrade? It's so hard just taking care of the kids. You need help. Just disregarding what the man is doing.
That's not the statement I've made at all.
I have a
That's how
scenario.
it's coming across. That's how it's coming across.
No, it's just because you're not listening, so you don't
No, I am
understand.
listening.
No, you're
Listening
not.
better than you.
Give us your statement
You know
then.
what I'm saying? Fuck that. I don't need her statement.
But yes, Floki, I have been told that I've
She
had
wants
financial.
women like her. They always complain that it's so hard. We need you to help with the kids. We need you to help with the house. And then I know y'all not getting with just shitty guys. There's some decent guys out there that help y'all. I'm not- so I don't understand. Y'all just don't want to do it because y'all fucking lazy. It's going to be hard.
Good Lord. But yes, Floki, I've had people claim financial abuse because, again, I don't have
Wow.
I don't have my own, well, I do have my own bank account actually. And I do have my own savings account from when I did work, that my man does not touch because he's like, I don't need your money. I have money,
Wow.
like whatever. So I have people come in and they claim that I'm being financially abused since I don't have a source of income at the moment. And I'm like, but I very much enjoy being the homemaker and I very much, enjoy being this, stay at home person. So, I do
Wow.
understand that some women do get financially abused where their husband very much is in charge of, oh, you can only spend this much, you can't spend this much. Very tight leash. I do not have that. I get handed a credit card and get told to spend whatever I want. He does not care what I spend.
As
So-
long as it's not just ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, don't go buy a Ferrari, but go get your
Yeah, exactly.
go get the groceries. Go,
Yeah, don't
whatever.
burn half a
He's
million.
like, he's not like, don't go buy a mansion in Hollywood Hills, but you do you, babe.
Right. There's a certain amount of respect between you two. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that is,
And he
that is
knows me.
wild
He
that
knows
you
like
get
if I say,
told
"Oh, babe, I'm gonna splurge," he's like, "Oh, okay, she's gonna go buy a coffee at McDonald's." Cool. He knows me. My splurge is not like this huge.
oh man.
This take is somewhat limiting when it comes to the financial barriers that women can face. Also, if the relationship ends. So if the relationship ends, he's obviously had time to build a career and advance to now where he has steady long-term income, where you would essentially have to start over with no work experience. And
I
if
do have work experience, yes, ma'am. So again, I have my college degree.
no
I
recent work
did-
experience.
Yes, I've actually just recently become a stay-at-home mom. So about 6
I'm
months
talking
ago.
long
So
term if the relationship fails.
Right,
I'm not
and
talking
plan
about
my
your
relationship to
specific.
fail,
I'm
right?
not
Like,
talking
everyone
about your
always is
specific.
like have a backup plan or whatever. And again, I do have a backup plan where I could go stay with my
I'm not talking about
sister.
your life.
Or I could, go, do all this stuff. And I do know again that there are women who don't have that. And again, like I said, I feel bad for them. But
I'm not talking about your life. I'm talking about in general, the concept of this nuclear family of the working father and the stay-at-home mother. Because yes, we do see typically that men benefit from marriage more than women, and that women
No,
have
that's
worse
completely
outcomes,
false.
Guys, just let her finish. Let her finish.
and that women have worse
All right.
outcomes when it comes to divorce.
Okay.
And again,
Proud.
I said I feel bad for those women. And again, in general, yes, I agree that there is this, again, this dependency, which you find in a partnership or whatever. And again, I feel like if a woman feels like this dependency is too much and she's like, no, I can't do this. I've got to stand on my own 2 feet. I see no problem with that. I have no problem with
This
a
is
woman
not a
saying,
natural dependency. This is a dependency created through capitalism.
Okay.
right,
calm
okay.
down.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if a woman's like, I cannot, stand the idea of being financially dependent on somebody else, great, then go get a career, go do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. Just like I have no problem with traditional women as long as it is what they want. They are not being forced into this role by anybody. This is truly how they are happy. Then I have zero problem with that. Just like I have zero problem with a woman who is like, no, I also want to work and raise my kids. Great, then do that. There's no problem with that.
Comrade, let me ask you this question. You said men benefit from marriage more, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Then why in the world, and this has been proven, are 80% of divorces initiated by women and women get more than what the man gets to keep? Why is that if men benefit more from marriage?
Well, women are initiating the divorce because it doesn't benefit them. I think that's pretty easy to conclude. And
But why is it 80%? Why do they get alimony, child support, half the man stuff, and yet a man benefits from a marriage?
so, yeah, women are divorcing because the relationship does not benefit them. So you're proving my point in that aspect. Alimony is
something real quick.
alimony is less than 10% of divorces. The average child support payment is $430. And the fact that you said the division of labor 50-50 is getting half of a man's stuff shows that you don't even actually see any of the assets are mutual, that they're his rather than the households. Because a 50-50 split is equal.
I actually have a hot take on that, and I do think if you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife, that you should get alimony simply because, again, you have gone out of the workforce to stay home and take care of the kids and take care of the house. So if you do get divorced, your husband does kind of have to. Well, he doesn't have to, right? But I would hope that he would look at that and go, "Wow, you've been out of the workforce for a hot minute. It's going to be a while before you get back on your feet. Let's get you some alimony to get you through it." However, I do get like where men are like, "Oh my gosh, like that's unfair, whatever." But I mean, I do also get it, right? Because when you're you're out of the workforce, you should get that alimony to kind of help you get back on your feet, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you've been staying at home and now you don't have this you have this huge gap in your resume or whatever.
I don't think that's a hot take, because if we essentially say that this is a partnership and he's doing paid labor and I'm doing unpaid labor, then you have equal right to the benefits of the paid labor.
Well, I can
But
I
you're
can
still
say
doing paid
this.
labor.
Salary is
There's no such thing as unpaid labor.
yes, there are.
No.
So take care of your kids is unpaid labor.
Correct.
No, there's no such thing as unpaid labor. Because here's the deal: you're going to do labor. You're going to take care of the house. You're going to clean the kitchen. You're going to clean the living room, the bathroom, all of that stuff. Right? You're not going to actually work for money. However, you are getting a roof over your head. You're getting all the bills paid. You're getting grocery money. You're getting everything that goes along with that. So it's not unpaid labor.
It absolutely is unpaid labor.
Just don't
Okay,
get
so you're doing everything.
I get both
I've already made this. I've already
I
made
get
this.
both sides of this actually, because I do understand where women are like,
Some stay-at-home moms
no, you know, I have to go to work and then I have to come home and I have to clean and I have to take care of the kids and I'm so exhausted. Or maybe someone who is a stay-at-home mom who doesn't enjoy what she's doing. So she's like, oh my God, I hate this. Like, you know, all I'm doing is cooking and cleaning and taking care of these kids all day and it's absolutely exhausting. But on the other side of the coin, I don't consider it unpaid labor simply because I don't consider it labor. I quite enjoy what I do, but I do understand that there's
And
women who
enjoying
don't.
something.
So I can
Yes.
understand how they'd be like, oh, this is unpaid labor because I'm getting no benefits from what I'm doing. But on the other hand,
They are getting
I
benefits.
still see it as
If
I
they're
get
not getting
benefit
The
from it.
enjoyment of the activity does not determine.
Because, you know, I do get the enjoyment of watching my kids, you know, get bigger and healthier, and I get to see the joy of
Exactly.
seeing like my house be clean and everything. So
Exactly.
Just because you enjoy something doesn't mean that it's not labor.
Right. Do you think there are lawyers that enjoy their job, that are doctors that enjoy their job?
Yeah.
sure, but not every
Roofers
single
that enjoy their
I
job.
You're
love-
supposed to clean your house, so
You know, I've loved
You're
jobs
supposed
in
to
the
take care
past
of your
One at a
kids.
time,
You're
y'all.
supposed to
One
get
at a
paid for that.
time.
You know, because I have enjoyed jobs in the past where it's still been like, oh my God, like it's work, right? You have to get up at 7 a.m. or whatever. And you're just like, you know, you have those days where like, fuck, I really don't want to be here, right? You know, so there are times when, you know, you don't love, even if you love your job, you know, there are some days where you just don't want to be there.
But Golden,
Sure,
if I
but
can,
again, that's not the qualifier to be labor. I already made the argumentation. If the wife does not perform the labor, if you outsource that and get a nanny and get a chauffeur and get a chef and get a maid, how much are you spending?
And I get that, but I also see it as just like kind of, okay, so if you decide to not clean your house and you are someone who cannot afford a maid, what's going to happen? You're going to have a dirty house. So like you can be single. So like when I was single, I still had to come home from work and clean and do laundry and make food and stuff, because even though I didn't have someone that I was taking care of, that's still things you have to do when you own a house, when you have, you know, that stuff, because it's just something that you have to do unless you want to live in a dirty house. So again,
Being
yeah, I
an
understand
adult.
like if you hire a maid or you hire a nanny, like I get all that, yes, but I also see it as that's just unfortunately a part of owning, or not even owning a house, but
That's just part of being
you
a
know,
mother.
when you're independent, when you're no longer a child, when you are 18 years and older, you have moved out of your parents' house, you are now
You're
an
an
adult,
adult.
and you are now living on your own. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do this stuff.
Yep.
So I feel like that's just part of the human existence.
Yep.
I would
So
say
that's
I don't feel like a stay-at-home mom should be getting paid. That is your job. That's what you signed up for. That's what you're supposed to do. But even then,
Oh, sorry, baby.
some stay-at-home moms, they get allowance from their husband. So it's excuses I'm hearing.
Capitalism requires unpaid domestic labor because
Well, you
who's
work-
raising the next workforce?
You work for what?
I kind of need to interject
You
here.
work to have a roof over your head. You work
Hold
for food. You get in
I
all that.
made the
You get
argument,
all that.
and I didn't even hear a counter.
guys, hold
I
on.
need to interject in here for a second here. Okay, I'm listening to all this about what women are supposed to do, women are supposed to do. But here's the thing. What happens, and this happened to me. My daughter, Cheyenne, her mom went off and left her, and I had to raise her myself. I had to come home, do the cooking, do the cleaning. I had a job. I had to hire. Actually, I let my mom babysit her till I come and got her and brought her home. I even still had to come home and do everything. I mean, I raised her till she was 18. She went off to college at 18. Right now, she's a lawyer's assistant. But I can tell you right now, I helped put her through college. I did everything like that. The mother was nowhere in the picture until she was 18 and graduated. And I mean, I had to do everything. I had to be the mom and dad both. So, I mean, I understand where a woman's role is and what a man's role is. And it's hard when you got to do both all at one time.
Oh my
Right,
gosh,
so
I'm so
part of
sorry. Somebody
performing
just
free labor.
commented.
Hold on, let me
Somebody
finish.
just commented and was like, "Oh, so you have to work for the roof over your head?" I'm sorry. Yes, if you live in America, it is not free to have a house. You do have to work, or you will be homeless. You have to pay rent. Unless you are a child living, a dependent living with another person, you do have to work to be able to
Well,
afford a house.
well, Golden.
Kids,
Actually, I'd
they
come
have
back on that
storage in
real
their
fast.
house. They
Um,
not getting paid.
Golden. You've got the government housing where they actually don't have to pay for it.
Okay, fair. I did not know that. Okay, so apparently there's government housing. So I guess you
Yeah.
don't have to pay for a roof over your head.
Technically, it's 30% of your income, but if you don't have an income, then you don't pay for it.
Exactly.
All right, well, there you go. Government housing, you guys. If you don't want to pay for a roof over your head, government
But-
housing.
Okay, what
But
about
some of the
kids that
housing
have
wait
chores?
lists are 10 to
Comrade.
15 years long.
Oh shit,
What
that
about, what
sucks.
about the kids that have chores in their house? Should they be
What,
getting
Brad?
paid? I said, what about the kids that have chores in their house? Should they be getting paid?
I don't. Depends on parents.
Have you ever heard of that?
Sure, that's up to the parents' discretion whether or not they want to pay them for doing those. Sorry.
I pay my son for chores. I don't raise on responsibility.